one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for being here tonight. Spring going into the summer. Okay, roll call. Everybody's here is present. And approval of the agenda. You have it for you. Any additions, deletions? Make sure your microphone's on so we can hear you. Okay, then if all those no additions or deletions, the agenda stands as presented. Tonight we are happy to have Doreen with us with this Salem library. We appreciate her being tonight. She has a presentation for us tonight.
Thank you for allowing me the time. I wanted to update the Salem Township Board and residents of some exciting things going on at the Salem South Lyon District Library. My name is Doreen Hannon, and I'm here to tell you about 4 things. I won't take up too much of your time here. The first thing is I'd like to invite everyone to join the library's summer reading program, which is called Camp Read A Lot. And our Camp Read A Lot kickoff is Thursday, June 16th from 5 to 8:30 p.m. If it rains, it's supposed to be Friday. We appreciate the assistance of the Salem Township Fire Department. They've been working with us because we're having a special bond fire at our party to burn the bond. The taxpayers have paid off the 20-year debt bond for the library, and we're celebrating with a special celebration at 7:30. And the fire department was helpful to us in locating safely our fire pit and getting prepared for that event to keep it safe but fun. And the bond debt was a $2.5 million bond authorized by the voters of the city of South Lyon and Salem Township in May 1995. And it was used to acquire, construct, equip, and furnish the library building. We would like everyone to come to our party. Don't be surprised, you're going to see a lot going on. We have over 300 people signed up already, and we will have parking control in full force that night. Last summer, our readers read a total of 22,037 hours, and we hope to beat that this year. We feel it's extremely important, especially for students, to keep them reading over the summer so that they return to school in the fall fully prepared to continue on and learn even more. The second thing I wanted to tell you about is our library was selected by the Library of Michigan to participate in the Harwood Public Innovation Training, and our goal in that is to engage more deeply with our communities. And we have received training and have learned what it means to turn outward and to use the community, not the library, as a reference point for choices and actions. And the goal of this initiative is to help libraries strengthen their role as a core community leader and change agent. And we've been having community conversations where there are 8 to 10 people per conversation. They last about 2 hours. And we just listen and we take notes to talk about what people's aspirations and concerns are and how they want the community to move forward. And these conversations have been composed of residents of Salem Township, the city of South Lyon, Green Oak Township, and Lyon Township. And we believe that we can learn things that the library can definitely address and improve, but we also feel that we'll be connectors, that we can pass on to you and other organizations, things that we've been hearing, and hopefully make a positive impact for all of us. The third thing is we updated our library strategic plan this past year with our library board, and one of the great requests that we had was to be open on Sundays. So our board has authorized for us to be open on Sundays beginning September 11th through the school year, through June 11th. So our hours will be on Sundays from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Lastly, I wanted to let you know that the Salem South Lyon District Library will be one of the 470 Funding Information Network partners worldwide for the Foundation Center as of July 1st. The Foundation Center provides resources for grant seekers and grant makers. And as a partner, we will offer local access to the Foundation Center's databases, publications, and a variety of supplemental materials and services in areas useful to grant seekers. So our local nonprofits will have the opportunity to research grant opportunities using the tools available at the library.
Great.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Doreen.
Are we talking about Touch a Truck? Just reminding folks.
Yes. If you see another huge event at the library, we have Touch a Truck, and it's in the newsletter. I put extra newsletters at the back table, and each of you also has one, and I believe it's,
June 22nd.
thank you, thank you. June 22nd in the morning, and the Salem Township Fire Department will be there, as well as all kinds of, dump trucks and backhoes and all kinds of large equipment that little kids love to be able to get up close and see these and not be afraid of them. So it's a great event. It's also a very huge, successful event, and again, you will see tons of cars out there, and we will be monitoring to make sure everybody stays really safe. Thank you.
All right, Doreen. Doreen, I always have a comment about you. I always appreciate notes that you send, that you're just a very positive person and just a great director of the library. We are thankful to have you in our community, so really appreciate it. Okay, so we're down to public comment. Bud?
On this last newsletter that was sent out, in your comments on the landfill issue, I have one question, or actually a couple questions. The research on the landfill, has anything arrived from the research and the drilling they were supposed to have done months ago on this? And two, I was really upset with this statement that you made that our taxes are going to go up. To me, that's sort of an intimidation to the residents of Salem Township, because it's 17 years down the road. A lot of things environmental will occur in 17 years. Look what they have done now with plastic bottles. Another thing is the methane gas. It states here it's going to be shut off. Methane gas does not go away from a landfill. It's continuous. So that's my statement.
Okay. Anyone else?
I also agree with the intimidation factor of the statement. I was happy to attend last month's meeting here of the Solid Waste Planning Committee, of which Mr. Whitaker is a member, and it was very informative. And my husband and I both left here thinking, gosh, there's an awful lot of information that is being solicited to and by this organization in order to put together a comprehensive plan for our county for solid waste management for the next 10 years that is not being given to the residents here. A lot of the questions you have about the results of the gas and the leachate and all of those things, if you go, I think it's ewashtenaw.org, there is a really comprehensive report about what the committee has found. It has population graphs, usage, how much different communities are putting into the landfill every year over the last, I think, 5 or 6 years. Growth projections for composting and recycling, different programs that are in place and being developed. It's quite comprehensive, and I think that link should be on our website. The host agreement link was nice for you to add to our website, but I don't talk legalese, and I don't know what it means. All I can find is an amount that was given in 1993 of how much they pay us per cubic yard, and if you do the math, you need thousands and thousands of trucks to pay for your salary, for instance. My husband and I are physically ill by the potential of the landfill to expand. And I don't know where all of you guys live, but I know you know where Mr. Whitaker lives, just as a point of reference. If the landfill expands, it's the equivalent of the landfill being at Willow Greenhouse in comparison to where Mr. Whitaker lives now. That's how close it's going to be to my house. I know it's going to affect the value in addition to the lifestyle that I've come to love here in Salem Township and why all of us live here in Salem Township. I cannot find a realtor who can tell me how my value is going to be affected because they sigh or they giggle and they say there are no comparables. There is no comparable to tell me how much the value of my house will be affected by a landfill less than a quarter of a mile away from my house. I can tell you that on the couple of occasions where my husband and I have asked, how are my taxes going to be affected, as opposed to a blanket threat that my taxes are going to be affected, because we all know that. We know that. A mill and a half. A mill for me to pay on my property would take me 100 years of 1 mill to pay for 10% of my property value. The same for everybody. You could pay 1 mill of your value, present day now, for 100 years to equate to 10% of your property value. If the dump expands, my property value will be less than 90% of what it is now. Not to mention all of the concerns that our neighboring communities who we love and take advantage of for our schools and their downtowns are being affected by the potential of this landfill moving and operating in a bigger footprint. I would just like to say, in conclusion, that I think you should all try to put yourself in the place where those of us who live adjacent to are, and take into account the things that we have here, maybe the things that we have to change as far as how we spend our money. Maybe we don't need some of the things that we have, or can find better ways to spend our money, and we might all be more willing to pay a little bit in order to maintain the lifestyle and the community that we moved here for. We are not going to grow substantially like Northville. You can't have an engineered field. I have 100 acres adjacent to me that's not owned by me, that doesn't perk, because we're a community of farmers. So we all know how that affects our property as far as being able to sell it to a developer if we chose. There are things that we honor and love about this community. The other thing is the planning committee is coming up with a lot of really, really neat ideas. My husband John just got sworn into the committee last week. He's not here today because he's meeting out and he apologizes. But he came home, instead of sad and practically in tears like he has for the last couple of meetings that we've attended, he came home energized. He says that Washtenaw County has the potential to do some really, really wonderful things with solid waste. He says that with the presentation that was made here last month, and I don't know how many trustees came. Could I have a show of hands, maybe? How many of you came to that meeting last month? As far as it was really informative, and there were over 40 people here from Salem and from Northville who expressed concerns. The noise, the dust, the quality of life that the dump-free proposes now or presents now, and what an expansion is going to be, guys. It's something really serious. And a plan isn't 2 years away. This committee is planning to put together a proposal by the end of the year. It has to go through a bunch of hoops, but we have to stand together, and we have to be informed, and we have to demand that we get information. How much will my taxes be increased, et cetera, et cetera? I think we're entitled to that kind of information. We should be bombarded with information so that we can make a decision that's best for us. Thank you.
All right, anybody else? Randy?
Good evening, Commissioner, members of the board. I want to come by this evening and introduce myself. I am Randy Clark, 10030 7 Mile Road. I
I am the Republican candidate for Michigan House of Representatives to replace Gretchen Driscoll, who's moving on to other things. I wanted to just come by. I'm a Salem Township resident, currently serve as the treasurer of the South Island School Board. I'm a small business owner, lifetime area resident. Currently attended Eastern Michigan and U of M, and I have a business degree. My wife and I have a son and a daughter who both have luckily finished college, moved out of the house. That's a great thing, tell me. But I've had a great time getting out to all the townships, meeting all the great people in Washtenaw County. 52nd District is huge. It's about 500 square miles, 14 townships, goes all the way to Manchester, so I've been rather busy. So I want to remind everybody to please vote in the primary, first weekend in August, and of course in the general in November. So thank you for your time. Let's get back to your meeting.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Okay, anybody else?
So one more question. Since this landfill is such a big deal to the residents of Salem Township, why cannot be have it put on the vote this November? For the residents of Salem Township, if they want it or not. That was settled most of it.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, moving on down, just a couple things. I don't know if you were here a couple weeks ago for our Flag Day. It was a very successful day again. I don't know how many of you were here, but it was a great day, and I just want to take this opportunity and thank all those that were a part of it, the volunteers. Some of the volunteers have been, like over 20 years, have been participating in it. It's a lot of work, a lot of planning, and we can't thank them enough for it just being a great day to celebrate our community and our town and also Flag Day. The other, unfortunately, towards the evening, it did rain out and we canceled our fireworks. And I want to announce to you, and we're trying to inform our residents that the makeup day is July 16th. And then there will be a rain date on July the 23rd. So make plans for that, and they meet over here at the elementary school to watch them be blowing off. So we just appreciate, and I know they're always looking for volunteers, so if you want to do something that's a lot of fun and watch our community shine, it's a good volunteer program to be involved to represent Salem Township. All right, now to our consent agenda, Mr. Winslow.
I move that Salem Township approve the following consent agenda items. The minutes of the May 10th regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. We have disbursements for May. That would be out of the general fund, $104,485.04. Checks 2655 to 26117. Out of the escrow fund, $2,942.50. Checks 1644 through 1648. We had a payroll of $52,382.19. Paycor helped us with that, and it cost $197.61. The sewer fund, $10,577.10. That would be checks 1976 through 1978. The invoices for the month of June, there is a change. We had to add, to the general fund, we had to add an additional $4,275.42 to that total that's represented. That was legal fees that were that came in a little bit too late, but we were able to put those in there. So the total is $94,018.81. Invoices for the sewer fund, $16,350.41, and a total through the escrow fund invoices $50,198.90. Any questions or some support?
I'll second. Mr. Converse seconds. Any other questions on the consent agenda?
Yes, Mr. Whitaker, I have a couple.
All right.
Mr. Wensley, could you clarify again the additional amount that's being added to the invoices for approval for June? And
Yes.
whose legal fees are they? And for what month are we talking about?
So this, $4,275.42 is the Plato law firm at Plato. And it is spread through the, let's see here, there's 7 different areas that make up the $4,200, tax matters, Salem Springs, Salem Springs GCI, Signer case, Leogio case, and 2 general fund accounts. And this would be December's of 2015 invoices.
Well, that would beg the question, where's the other 3 months for the fiscal year? And when will we receive those?
Good point. That you should have, not the number of months already been sent out, you still have to, I'm not sure.
When's the audit scheduled, Mr. Wensley?
The second week of July.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to suggest that we talk about that issue under board discussion as far as the status of legal bills and its potential impact on our year-end audit. Secondly, in regard to the escrow for June, do we have an update on the status of monies that we're waiting to receive from the Showstack organization? Are we in a position to actually pay those bills if we approve them?
No, we do not have, but we do, if we are meeting with them again, they will be bringing us a check. We have told them that.
When will we be meeting with them again?
We're waiting for them to set up another meeting.
And I don't think we should approve these bills until we have money in our pocket from them.
All right? Any other discussions on it? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. How many ayes we have? Aye. 4? Got a no on the end?
No.
No? 2 noes?
No.
All right, 2 noes. All right, motion passes. All right, moving on down to Mr. Trent on the motion for vendor for fire department.
Fellow board members, I move that Salem Township approve the quote from BioCare in the amount of $11,520 to perform the physicals for the fire department.
I'll second that. Okay, any discussions on this?
Just as some information for the board, as you'll recall, in our fire department contract that we negotiated and approved last fall, one of the items that was included in that contract was physicals would be required of all of the fire department staff. Chief Rockwell has acquired 3 quotes for our consideration. We currently use the Wixom complex today. That is a carryover from board action of several years ago. Their quote is in the middle of the pack as far as cost goes. However, one of the benefits of using BioCare is that they will provide on-site physicals here and bring a truck and resources to accommodate our firefighters so that there is no need for them to travel to Wixom to have those physicals performed. And we have feedback from other communities that currently use BioCare, and they are very well received as far as their experience and expertise. So I ask for your support in this item, and we have monies budgeted for this purpose this fiscal year.
When will these start?
Pending approval, I guess when the chief can coordinate a time frame that we can get most of the firefighters through during a given day, which I'm sure will probably be a Thursday training day, potentially. Potentially.
The company has offered to come in on Saturday as well. So we're gonna try to maximize the firefighter participation for the day that works best for all the firefighters.
One of the questions, where, if somebody can't make it, where are they located out of if they have to go?
So the fallback would be the Wixom. Yeah, but the BioCare would be preferred because of the fact that they can do it in accordance with that NFPA standard and are quite adapted to the firefighter physical. Wixom does more of an occupational, so they don't have the expertise of doing the firefighter physicals that BioCare offers.
Okay, any other discussion? We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Motion's passed. Mr. Winslow, on this fireworks.
I move that Salem Township approve the request of Eric and Jessica Kanapka to hold an outdoor fireworks display at their home on August 13th at 9 p.m. See the attached state permit, insurance certificates, site plan, and approval letter from Fire Chief Jim Rockwell. Do you have a second?
I second. Any discussion on this? This is a yearly thing that they have done over the years.
May I add something?
Sure.
Mr. Supervisor? I did do some follow-up this year because I wanted to just tighten up some of the loose ends that I felt that were out there. I talked to the insurance company and asked them if their insurance company actually insure a commercial shot. Because these are commercial fireworks. These are not fireworks that you can buy at a store. You have to have an ATF license to own these fireworks. They said as long as they don't charge an admission, they're okay with that. They would cover any loss up to $1 million, I believe the policy is. The other issue is that I put some conditions of weather and the fact that they contact their neighbors to make sure that this event doesn't negatively affect their neighbors. So I think, quite honestly, the neighbors will probably be pulling up a lawn chair and enjoying the free show.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Can you
All right,
tell-
moving on down
Can you
to.
tell us where they live so we know that there's fireworks on that day?
It's on,
It's well away from your house. It's,
Yes.
it's on Brookville,
no, it's.
5 mile, 5 mile.
Yes,
5 swing.
that's correct.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Between Curtis, I believe, and Tower, right?
Correct.
Okay, the clerk revenue expenditure reports have been presented, and we're down to the fire department.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. We had a number of runs, 41 runs, I believe, mostly all medicals. The only thing that I would say was remarkable in the calls we had this last month was we had an individual go down M14 and hit 3 cars. Someone intentionally started at Beck Road and nailed 2 cars at Goppert's before it ripped off the axle of his truck and was going into the ditch and he ran away. So MSP found him later, upon which I'm sure he probably got some silver bracelets. But that's probably the most significant call that we had last month. Our response time was an average of less than 6 minutes, which was pretty awesome. And then the new tanker is in service, and the vast majority of the firefighters have been trained in it. So the next step will be to, we're finishing putting up where we're hanging our equipment at. But it's pretty much ready to go should we need it for a fire. The conditions have been pretty dry out, so we asked folks with the high winds to curtail their burning until favorable conditions are better. Or if you're going to do it, make sure you do it in accordance with the burn permit, which means that you're supervising that directly and have some means to put that out should the fire get outside the container. Any questions the board has for me? Thank you for approving BioCare. That's definitely a big step in the contract.
Thank you, Chief. All right, Washtenaw County report has been a lot of, just an update from our sheriffs, talking with them on their update as far as car larcenies. There's been quite a few recently in the township. So keep your doors locked. A lot of them have been unlocked, and so some of them reports have come in, so need to lock our cars. Okay, down to board discussion. Salem Springs update. Any updates?
Mr. Supervisor, if I may, we had hoped to have the Yucca contract presented to the board by this evening.
Your microphone on?
It is on, sorry. I had hoped to have the Yucca contract for the board this evening. I spoke with the Yucca's attorney earlier this week, and he has promised to have it definitely by the July meeting for the board's review and hopefully approval. Also, talking with the township engineers, they indicated they would have the township sewer ordinance to me by the end of the week, as well as the standards for water and sewer in the USD. So we should have everything ready to go by the July meeting. Hopefully that everybody will keep their promises and get everything to us on a timely basis. So we've been waiting for these for a couple months now, but hopefully everything will be done by July. As far as the litigation with Salem Springs, as I reported to the board sometime maybe 6 months or so ago, the Court of Appeals had sided with the township and with the concerned citizens of Salem, and had basically said that Salem Springs did not have proper standing to bring the lawsuit and challenge the township's referendum election that was held. Salem Springs then filed an application for leave to the Supreme Court, and recently the Supreme Court issued an order denying their application, which means that the Court of Appeals opinion then becomes the binding law of the case. What will happen now is the case will be remanded back to the Washtenaw Circuit Court. There's been no judgments or orders entered by the Circuit Court. That's where it'll have to go for entry of an order. And we'll wait and see what, if anything, Salem Springs does as far as any further action in the Circuit Court. But I wanted to advise the board that, in fact, the Supreme Court had denied their application.
Any question, board members? Mr. Trent, you want to talk about Salem Springs?
Well, I'd like to talk about the audit,
Okay.
only with your permission if we're on.
Absolutely, let's talk about it.
Very good. Going back to the issue of Mr. Plato's bills that are still pending for our receipt. If the audit is scheduled the second week of July, and we do not have those for our consideration and approval, does that not jeopardize the effectiveness of trying to do an audit? And if that is the case, do we need to push the audit back? Or do we need to plan for a special board meeting at some point in time where those bills can be reviewed, approved as applicable, and then give the clerk's department adequate time to close the books and have it ready for the audit? And I'm not sure what your time frame is to do that. Mr. clerk and Mr. Treasurer, if you're involved in that as well. But I have a concern that we are getting ourselves into a dicey situation if we don't have those bills in quick order.
Just to answer that, I believe that I have heard from our legal counsel that those bills should be getting in to our office within the next few weeks, in time to make sure that the adjusting book entries will be satisfactory for the auditors. So as long as Mr. Plato can get those in to us in the next 2 weeks, we should be fine.
Is that a promise?
Well, and I've also assured the supervisor that we will not go over budget for the 2015, 2016 year. So if anything goes over budget, I'll waive those additional fees.
That's what I've been waiting to hear.
That's good.
Get a signature right
On the
here.
tape.
Okay.
On the tape.
Yeah, I'll get it signed right here.
But I guess I'll ask the question because I'm not sure what the answer is. Even if Mr. Plato submits those at a promised time frame, and you enter those into the system, will the auditors give us the privilege of reviewing those and approving those at our July meeting while the audit is in process? Because that's when our next meeting is.
The auditors said that they would be able to work with us as long as we could have those bills in there in the next 2 weeks. So I'll say yes. They'd be willing to work with us during that time when we're approving them, our first meeting of July. I mean, it's going, we're at the bottom, we're at the deadline. We should have had them many months ago, but
Yeah, we should have flogged him months ago.
that's right.
I've been repeatedly flogged by the deputy clerk.
The information you just shared, Mr. Wensley, is that been reviewed with our auditors based on this latest input of information from Mr. Plato, or is that something that needs to be rechecked with them to make sure we're in good standing?
Good standing as it relates to the legal, the legal section of our audit?
That it will work out with what you just described,
Yes.
that they're willing to work with us.
Yes.
I just want to find out, were they willing to work with us before we had this information or after we had this information?
No, my deputy has called them. It will work out. As long as we get them in 2 weeks, we'll be fine.
Okay, well, if the supervisor needs to call a special board meeting for us to review Mr. Plato's last 3 months of billings, please advise us accordingly.
Okay. Very good.
And we'll charge her. All right, any other updates? First, any more conversation on this? I don't want to cut anybody off if there's more questions. I'm going to talk a little bit about the roads. I know this has been frustrating with the dry weather and stuff that we've had. I mean, the dust control is absolutely not, in my opinion, is not working and hasn't been. So it's been really bad this year. We have where the truck traffic is on Chubb Road. It was been a real issue this past month. And we did go to the county and just pleading with them. And once again, just so most of you know, they own the roads. The DEQ's calling us, everybody about the dust problem and everything that's being affected by many people. But again, it's where, we can't really go out there and do anything to the roads ourselves because they own the roads and they're in control. If you see some of the other counties around us that use the calcium chloride, which has been used for many years, but it's double or triple the cost. But you look at it, once they put that on, it really does make a big difference. And you can see in the other counties how long it lasts. So So, make a long story short, we did get some of the road on Chubb with the calcium chloride where the business owner did pay for it. We pulled the permit, I went down and pulled the permit for Salem Township so that they can call this service contractor to come in and do the roads, and we finally got an approval to do that. So it's basically more or less where some of these dirt roads where they're heavily traveled, where it's just you go down and you can't hardly see the car in front of you or in back of you. So it's just something I think we really need to address, either by going to the calcium chloride back to it or doing something about it, because whatever they're using right now is just not working. And we do get, what's that?
What are they using now?
They're using, it's a brine, it's.
Well, it's a brine, but isn't it made up of calcium chloride?
Yeah, no, it's,
Pretty mixed.
yeah, it's got actually like a vegetable that, made of vegetable.
Less than
that they're-
oil.
And it's, but it's, again, it's been dry too, so I know we haven't, a lot of times, when you read about the calcium chloride, the rain actually helps it activate, and, but you can see a big difference in other counties. If you go in Oakland County, they're using it, I know part of Wayne's using it, and it's a big difference, you just see it. And it's just, for those of you who live on a dirt road, it's, I don't know how you do it. It's hard. No, I don't know how you keep a car clean. I don't know how you sit on a deck. It's very, this year especially, I didn't even notice, like even, when you're in other areas, you're on the road, and if anybody goes off the road a little bit, it just, it clouds the dust behind and front, so. But anyway, it's something I think we really need to address. We get 3 applications of the dust control that we get now, that we grade the roads 3 times, the dirt roads, along with putting this brine on, which, to be honest with you, they put it down one day, I traveled the road, and you couldn't even tell the difference. So it's, something needs to be done there. So we are working with them, trying to get them to figure out what our next direction is. I know there's only one township in Washtenaw County that's using it, so they really don't have it on hand, the calcium chloride in Washtenaw County. So it's like either you have to have a service to have it done and then get special permits to have it done. So we are working on it. It's a problem. So that's kind of the update on the roads. They're still slated to 1st of July to do 6 Mile Road out here from Curry to Chubb, and also the side streets here to overtize and also repave the roads. And so that's about it on the roads. Any other questions?
I know it's not just our township, Northfield Township, if anybody's driven Earhart from North Territorial down to Joy, you can, it's absolutely horrible. You cannot see the car in front of you, even if you're doing 30 miles an hour rather than 50. And then again, beyond that, from Pontiac Trail down to, or Joy down to, what is it, Domino's.
Yeah.
It's been just horrible. So unfortunately, it's not just us, it's elsewhere.
Well, I just remember
no excuse.
when they first laid it, and I remember driving through Oakland County. It's just like night and day.
Yeah.
You can really tell a big difference. So, you hate to just throw money at something that's not working. So, I think we got to figure something else out if this continues.
Well, to that point, Mr. Supervisor, if neighboring townships are having the same problem, I think it's incumbent on the leadership of the respective communities to join forces, communicate your disapproval with the road commission, and we should demand another reapplication at no cost.
Well, we have done, I know I have, because like I said, first, the folks of you that are here tonight, I'm sure if you live on a dirt road, you know what I'm talking about. It's like, it's the same day. So, but their excuse back is because of the dryness and everything, so, you know.
Yeah, but one of the big issues that I addressed when we had our annual meeting out there, I addressed getting a larger application, and they kind of poo-pooed that, more gallons per mile, because we presently get 2,000 gallons per mile. In the past, they had put up to 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 gallons per mile. And I said, well, why can't we double it up? And they said they kind of didn't do any better. But the problem is that when we sign up for that 2,000 gallons, they submit and they put everybody else, and they get their year supply of brine. And even if we wanted to say double it up right now, I'm not sure that they would have the supply. It really boils down in their fault.
All right, any other comments? All right. Any other discussion we want to talk about? All right, then if not, we're down to public comment. But,
Back to the same subject of the roads. We have two factors going against the people on 7 Mile and Chubb Road. There's a huge dip in the blacktop that they put when they approached a couple of 3 years ago. The two factors, you have to creep out to 7 Mile to look both ways before you pull out on 7 Mile. And two is the weeds that, you know what I'm talking about, Gary, on
Yep.
that one farmhouse. You can't see around, so you're really going through these culverts to get to 7 Mile, plus you have to go out far enough to get past those weeds. I just want to bring it to your attention.
they're out cutting the weeds now.
I saw
it
it
down
today,
there.
and so they didn't touch that. That's on the other guy's property.
This is the one that's on the
The northeast corner.
northeast. Yes, fine.
When you come to 7 and Chubb from the south up to 7 Mile Road, that apron doesn't belong there. The county didn't put it there. Somebody who had leftover from a driveway just emptied their truck there, and now it's making a bigger mess. The county never put the approach to 7 Mile Road on Chubb Road on the going between 6 and 7. The county never put that there.
Okay. But it is bad right there, I know.
Yeah, it's terrible there. You
Yeah.
lose a little car in that hole.
All right. Make a note of that. Okay, anyone else? Oh,
I think the approach at Goffardson and North Territorial needs to be lengthened, because the traffic that's coming down that road and up the road at evening time, they put the brakes on these trucks and everything, and it just ends up potholes everywhere. If you've ever come down that road and then want to get onto North Territorial. The other thing is, I agree, the dust, I live on Goffardson.
right.
The dust is absolutely terrible. I can't even use my deck, and my grass ends up being brown from dust. When I cut it, it's just spreading dust everywhere. So, and then we've had so many trucks on these roads hauling dirt somewhere on Brookville, and that adds to tearing up the roads too. So I think the traffic on some of the dirt roads, those should be the priority of maybe this calcium chloride.
Correct. I agree. Thanks, Will. Okay, anybody else? Yes.
In the last Salem Messenger, Supervisor Whitaker, you again claimed many false rumors are being spread about the landfill expansion, even going so far to suggest a special assessment district for fire and police protection for the 545-home subdivision recently approved by the board. Anyone familiar with the way a special assessment district works knows it's for something going in for that particular area, not for services the rest of the residents get for free. By your logic, we should tax Northville Crossing, as they use the lion's share of our police services. Trying to deflect attention from the real issue here won't work. This is for the rest of the trustees. Recently, Supervisor Whitaker received a copy of the May 31st, 2016 violation notice response from a public waste. Did any of you get a copy of that report? I can see you didn't, so I will email a copy to each one of you tomorrow morning. It is important you read this response, as you may eventually vote on Advance's request for expansion. The response details Advance's failures to follow MDEQ permit requirements, putting their profits ahead of proper management of the landfill. It also details how uncooperative Advance is with Republic in the maintenance of their gas recovery wells. Advance has increased the amount of trash they accept to between 10 and 11,000 tons a day. This makes it the largest landfill by volume in the state of Michigan. Residents complain of increased truck traffic. This is why. And it's going to get worse if the landfill expands. Supervisor Whitaker, you want to make it about dollars. You say the township will lose. But the revenue stream will continue for another 17 years with tipping fees and another 10 to 15 years with gas revenue after that. This isn't about money. This is about our environment, our homes, our lives. I'm not a tree hugger, but there comes a point when enough is enough. Leachate outbreaks every day, using compost and construction debris as daily cover, not bothering with daily cover at all, violating the MDEQ permit, an odorous cloud that appears every day at the top of the landfill due to the waste they accept. Does anybody on this board know with certainty what waste is going in there? What's next? Are we to expect three-headed dogs like Cerberus, or maybe even Odin's six-legged horse? Trustee Daniels, a couple of meetings ago, you said I embarrassed myself because I talked to a reporter on this issue. In my opinion, it's you who have embarrassed yourself. I am at least attempting to get the truth out there. I ask all of you to do your fiduciary duty. If the residents of this township knew what was actually going on at that landfill, I seriously doubt they would be in favor of an expansion. In years to come, blame or credit will be assessed. What do you want your name associated with? Read the email I will be sending you. It should scare the heck out of you. And for those in this room who haven't read it, the link is on SharingSalem's website on the landfill page. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay. All right, I just have a few comments. I feel like I keep repeating myself about the issue with the landfill, but here goes again. I have not said if I'm for or against, I just want to know exactly what the residents of this town feel about an expansion. Mrs. Heil, I appreciate your comments tonight. I usually don't address people, but again, we do have to realize that why I got on the solid waste committee. I wanted to be on the solid waste committee for one reason, and that's because of Mrs. Heil's husband, who was part of the board here that approved the landfill for a 20-year expansion in 2009, that there wasn't the proper infrastructure that should have been in place so that we wouldn't have to be putting up with the issues that we're putting up with today. I wanted to be on that committee to tell Washtenaw County that we are tired of the road conditions. We are tired of the infrastructure that hasn't been dealt with, because they are also getting close to $1 million a year off of that hill too, and I believe that they should be helping us with our roads and everything that we're dealing with. So I wanted to have a voice. We have met now for I don't know how many months. The landfill hasn't even been brought up to talk about the expansion and what they're talking about.
With
But
all
I
due
think it's-
respect, sir, yes, it has.
No,
40 people were
let me
here
finish,
last
please.
month,
Okay,
and
this-
you have
no.
been, my husband's been to two of the meetings, and you haven't said a single word on behalf of Salem Township.
What I'm saying to you is, if you just let me explain. We are trying, we are at the board level, we have talked to other people around the committee, that when it comes up about the issues that are facing our township, and I think it's very important that we as a township realize about the infrastructure that's all around us. And we do have to hear from our community and people who are concerned about what's going on with truck traffic, with everything that's going on now. again, to put up with what we're putting up for the next 15, 17 years is a lot to put up with crumbling roads and issues that we have there. A comment that I do want to make as far as the fines or the issues of Republic and Advanced Disposal, they're in a legal dispute. One is going to make claims against the other. And I believe that the report that has been out, Advance is going to respond to that as far as the stuff that they're accused of what Republic is saying, what they're saying when they're there putting the new wells in. So, you know, there's a lot of comments that come out in the news, comes out, but again, you got to be careful to make sure that, you know, you're understanding what is truth and what is false. We've seen a lot of flyers out there, and again, in the newsletter, to address the newsletter, again, I'm sorry how somebody might interpret something, but if you read the newsletter, I have not said that, you know, the landfill, as far as raising taxes eventually, as it says, they're likely that our taxes will go up. You know, tipping fees will stop when the landfill closes, therefore, you know, as a township, we're gonna have to look at who's ever here, they're gonna have to be raised sometime. So, and again, is that gonna affect, I don't mind paying the more taxes, and there's a lot of people, but there are some people who don't want their taxes to go up. So, it's, you know, it just basically is saying that, and the gas, I've never said in the newsletter here that our revenue from gases will stop. It will go on for years. But again, it's, you know, we really need to come together as a community, and as it gets down closer to it, when, again, they have not come in and talked to us about expanding yet, except the one time. But when they do, we need to be ready as a community to address it, and kind of, and understand what our residents really want. If it needs to continue or not continue. And the other issue that I think that, and just to be, I don't know this for sure, but I have talked to our legal counsel, have talked to some people in Wayne, at the Solid Waste Committee about what happens if the township does say no and the other communities vote on it. What is the stand of the state of Michigan? What happens if the property that they own across the street and that it is put on our doorstep, no matter if we want it or not? Again, I just want to make sure, as a township, that we don't put our head in the sand and have something dumped on us, even if we say no. That doesn't, again, some of the reports that have come back and said, you know what, if you say no, it still could be at our back door. So we just want to make sure, we want to listen, get all the information, we want to hear from the public, and, you know, I think it's important that we communicate, and not just be mad, or certainly accuse me of saying, hey, I am for this, or I'm against it. I'm just saying, I want to know what you have to say. But again, I want the facts to be known that, yes, it will raise our taxes down the road. When? I don't know when it is. But again, these are the good points that are brought up. I think that we should talk about, well, how much would it be per household? You know, if it's a $200,000 house, well, we'd be talking with a mill or whatever it might be for us to go up, our taxes to go up. So again, I think it's important to know what the issues are, and I think it's important that we all discuss them. And you know, I'm available anytime we can talk about it. But I just, again, I don't want people to have false information as far as that we're putting out there that we're for it or against it. We just want to know what our town feels moving forward. Any other questions about it? Okay, any other questions out here to talk about? Yes.
Then you have to give us information. All I can find, I look at the host agreement. I looked at the host agreement today. The host agreement dates back to 1993. The host agreement says that they pay 11.5 cents per cubic yard to the township to dump. So I don't get answers from the board. I have to do my own research. I have to come up with my own calculations. That's the best I can do. So my calculation says that's $2.70 on the average truck. $2.70, it takes 13,000 trucks at $2.70 to pay your base salary. If you cannot come back to me and tell me since November when we were here and said, how is this gonna affect our taxes, it's 7 months later. Who do I go to get that information? Why can't you put on the website, folks, I don't have all the answers, but here's some information that you can read to educate yourself. Why is it so hard to answer our questions?
You know, again, you have my phone number. I'd be glad to
You've
get them
given me
figured for you.
information verbally, two
No.
different bits of information for the same question verbally. I need something in writing that everybody gets the same information, Mr. Whitaker.
Okay. We can, you know, we can start working on that. I don't know exactly how much our tax will go up, but we can look into
Who
it.
can find that out for me? Who can calculate that for me by the next meeting?
I'm not sure that we could have it by the next meeting, but we could try to find out. I'm trying to get it figured out. What I believe our budget is about $2.5 million, 2.3, and we have to figure it out.
Somebody up here that I'm paying a lot of money to has to be able to do a calculation in 7 months.
What's a typical township, other township operating millage?
You could go on the different townships, like Northfield Township, and look at their millage rates, and see what their millage rates would be for Northfield and all the different townships, and then compare their millages to our millages. That might
Their
help.
millages affect a lot of different operating costs. Why can't you do that for me?
Go ahead, yes.
Okay, thank you. First of all, the information is available if people claim they can't get it. Most community agreements, not based on cubic yards, it's 2.75% of the tipping fee. The county gets 3%. That's how you figure it. It's based on gross revenue. It's not based on the garbage that comes in the door. The second part is it's very simple to figure out how much the taxes are, and I am one of the farmers in the community, and as a farmer, we don't want our taxes raised. So I think one thing you have to remember, when you have a position, that's good for you, but your fellow citizens we don't all share the same thing. It's very simple. If the township's budget is $1.5 million from the landfill, and the landfill stops, and the methane gas does stop, it's an inverted curve, and eventually there's less gas being created. It's simple. The township has a taxable value. You take the taxable value and you figure out how much each mill creates. The township's taxable value a few years back was about $450 million. That means for every mill, you would raise about $450,000. That means to replace a minimum of what the landfill gives us is 3 to 4 mills. It's not 1 mill. Now I can do that without having to chastise Mr. Whitaker in a public meeting, and I don't speak for him. If you knew me, you would know Mr. Whitaker and I aren't always on the same page. But the information is there if you want it. It's not those 7 people's job to give me information. If I want information in an information age, the information is there. I don't want the same information you want, and I appreciate that you want information I don't. But I think that we all have as citizens in an electronic age, we have an obligation to get the information we want. And I don't want, just for the board's sake, I don't want to pay more millage. So I have a different position, and I am one of the farming families here, and in a family that's been here since 1826, when none of your homes were here.
I understand
Thank you,
that.
Mr. Whitaker.
I respect you for that, and I know that we have different opinions. What I've been asking for is that everybody get the same information.
I don't want the information, ma'am.
But you don't live where I live, and at some point, you need to know the issues that I'm dealing with where I live.
Right now, currently today, do you know where I live?
No.
Okay, thank you. Then please don't tell me what I do and don't have, and that's my point. I appreciate that you want information. I do. But I'm telling you, the information is there. And it's not this board's responsibility to spoon feed anyone. I want information. Any one of those board members will tell you I'm at every planning commission meeting, because we own a farm. We own 2 farms. And it has, whatever they do has an impact on our land. I I do my homework. I don't expect someone else to do it for me. I appreciate that you want information. I do. But I'm telling you, that information is there. You wanted a calculation as the mill. I can tell you that tonight if Mr. Converse would simply tell me what his taxable value is in the township. It's not hard.
Anyway, thank you. But we will, any more, if you need information, please, I'll try to get you what you need. Okay, anybody else? Okay. If not, I believe we're adjourned. Thank you for being here tonight.